You're listening to the RockDown Podcast, the podcast that doesn't care how bands got their names. And now, direct from the RockDown Studios, here is your host, Mr. Cheese.
Hello and welcome to the show. I am your host, Mr. Cheese, and this week we are delighted to be joined by the writer of the best ever song in Eurovision history, ever, Marko from Baby Lasagna. Hello, sir.
Hi, hello. Thank you for having me.
So I can't hide, I am a massive fan, so this is ticking my list of things to do before I die. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, and thank you for being patient with my schedule. I know you got in contact way before, but I just couldn't find a spot. So thank you for waiting. And when I saw what you do and who you worked with, it sounded cool. So I really wanted to do it.
Well, thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I think we may have got to the stage where your agent finally said yes, just because I emailed so many times. I think I first contacted him 2001 or so. That's an exaggeration, but yeah, we were happy to wait because, like I said, I genuinely am a fan. So
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. It feels I'm almost blushing.
Well, just one further blush, and I've never had to do this. My wife, bizarrely, as I came up to the studio, said, "Please send Marko my love," which is something I'm not terribly happy about, but there you go. So for anybody, like I said, we tend to ask very different questions, but for anybody who doesn't know about you, can you kind of give us a very brief history of yourself and also Baby Lasagna?
Yeah, well, my name is Marko. It's outside of Baby Lasagna project, and I was a musician since I was 9, and I was in all sorts of bands. And before Baby Lasagna, actually was in a quite successful band, considering where we come from. It was a folk metal band, Mantra, and we toured Europe. And at some point, I figured out that I wanna just stay at home, that I don't like touring that much. So I started to write songs for other artists, and I was somewhat successful in it. I had the best-selling album in Germany at one point, one best-selling when it comes to weekly sales. So I got it even a little statue from it. It was for like a gothic metal band or gothic rock band, Mono Inc. And I started to write more, and at some point I figure out that I'm kind of missing writing for myself. So when you write for other people, you usually get a PDF file which says we want this kind of song, this tempo, this whatever beat. Like, it's really strict, and you have to follow the rules if you want to succeed in it. So I felt like I needed something to fulfill my own needs to create, and I created a song called Biggie Boom Boom, and then I created Don't Hate Yourself But Don't Love Yourself Too Much. I created Rim Tim Tagidim, and at some point those songs started to sound really good, and I wanted to release them. And when you want to release something on Spotify or YouTube, you have to have a name. And I just put out the name Baby Lasagna, and which sounded just funny and random. And it was never supposed to be successful or anything. It was just supposed to be a random thing that, hey, those songs exist out there now, out there, and whatever. And one day when I was drinking with my friend, I sent him the song Rim Tim Tagidim, and he was like, "Yeah, this sounds like Eurovision thing. Maybe you should try and apply it on Dora." I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And it took about 10 minutes, which I was talking to myself, and I was like, if it takes more than 15 minutes, I'm not going to do it, because nothing's of it is just a jokey thing that I do. And fortunately, it took about 6.5 minutes. And yeah, I just forgot about it. And even when the songs who were picked for Dora, which is Eurovision contest in Croatia, were announced, I didn't even find out unlike 2 or 3 days later. That's how much I didn't pay attention to it. And yeah, the rest is, I guess, history. So that's my little history of my music career. And yeah, afterwards I went on Eurovision, and now today I'm here speaking with you.
Well, again, thank you so much for that. We will. I have got a couple of kind of music questions. They sort of relate to you. You mentioned the kind of the obviously you're interested in kind of rock and metal. What bands are kind of on your list that you've not got to see that you would absolutely love to see in that genre?
I had the fortune to see System of a Down after they fell apart, but they reunited for the tour. So System was great for me. I still haven't had a chance to hear Korn live, which is I don't have to explain who Korn is probably. I haven't seen Iron Maiden live still. AC/DC. So a lot of bands actually I didn't see live because I'm not really a concert goer, which I really have to fall in love with the band. But now as I'm getting older and those dudes are getting older, it's starting to be scary. Like how long are they gonna play even, or are they even playing anymore? So yeah, and also Slipknot. But to be honest, Corey Taylor as a frontman sometimes gets on my nerves. So I really love to hear them play live, but not talk live.
I'm already sensing I could make this podcast about 10 hours. There's so many things I want to say. Um, Corn, I've been lucky enough to see, I think, two or three times, and that's one of those bands that the second his microphone stand just is put on the stage and put on the spotlight, the crowd. I remember my wife going nuts because they don't usually play "Y'all Want a Single," and the first time we went and saw them, they played that, and yeah, you definitely tick that off your list eventually, definitely.
Yeah, I should definitely. I should. Yeah, we're playing at Nova Rock Festival, which is like one of the most biggest alternative festivals in Europe. And Korn is actually playing, and Slipknot is playing, and Linkin Park is playing. But Korn is like 2 days before we are going there. So we're gonna go day before to see Linkin Park. So I'm gonna see them live. And I unfortunately I can watch Slipknot and listen to them because right after our show I'm going home because I'm the best man on the wedding next day, so I don't have the time to listen to it.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. So outside of music, what are you really passionate about?
I kind of got lost in writing stories, which I don't know. It fulfills me in a way. I think that I can express myself in a way that I can do with songs. So expressing yourself in a song when you have a complex emotion can be tricky because you're really restrained by sometimes rhymes, sometimes just the duration of the song or the capacity of what people can listen to and will listen to. And I think it's even getting smaller as we go on. But yes, writing stories is fun and playing with words. So I like to do that, which I haven't been able to do for a few months now or even longer just because everything has been so hectic and my mind has been like all over the place. So I can't really focus on some imaginary dude doing whatever. But I like to train, I like to read. A gym is what relaxes me. And to be honest, I'm in the past year, I've been year and a half so long from home. So I've been on tour and doing this and that. So for now, I just love just chilling at home with my wife, cooking, watching some TV shows, and just existing without having to be in the crowd or in the noise. Just be at peace with my wife. That's the best thing for now.
Well, I can say, having been married for 30 years, being with my wife is also the best thing. So,
So glad to hear that. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm so glad to hear that because I find spending time with my wife ever since she's been my girlfriend so relaxing and stuff. But everybody's like, well, when you get married, things are gonna change. You'll see. And there's like a culture in Croatia, but I think even broader than Croatia, that like married people hate each other, which is just so stupid, and it annoys the heck out of me every time I hear that. So really glad you say that.
yeah, I mean, and it's so true. But I also, again, it's another huge topic. But I also think there is still, even in 2025, there is kind of the whole macho man, sort of having to pretend to be a certain way. Right. My thing is, right, she's my hero. I worship the ground she walks on. We work together, and obviously we live together. That would be strange if we didn't. But I mean, the thing is, she's my hero. I love her above everything. I would give her my last breath. So why would I not say that? Do you know what I mean? But it seems now, kind of the whole, I don't know, even today, it seems something. It's almost like that you can't just be honest and say, yeah, I love my wife more than anything, you know?
Well, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So I'm glad that we are like speaking about it because I think it's important because like the institution of marriage is being laughed at for the longest time, which I respect. If you don't want to get married, of course, that everybody makes their own choices. But I know here in Croatia, it's just oh, it's really toxic. So I want to be a voice that says, hey, it's cool to get married.
Yeah, yeah, and I think again, my wife has MS, and so kind of more and more I have to, I have to do certain things for her. But I actually look at that as an honor because to kind of give yourself, to give yourself to somebody and put yourself in their hands. Again, like you said, it's kind of the modern toxic, as they call it, toxic masculinity and how you should treat. To me, if you find somebody that gives themselves to you, well, you should not only give yourself completely, but you should be happy and proud to do so.
Wow, really? You said everything. I don't have anything. That's perfect. Perfect.
Okay. So on to a much sillier question. What was the last photograph that you personally took?
Oh, I think it was. I can look at it. Wait a second. Because I'm on my phone. The last photograph is of my cat looking and being afraid of a puppet head that's made of my my head. Basically, it's the replica of my head, like real life a replica, which they used on a festival or some kind of practice for saloons where they cut your hair. So they made my head look like extremely realistic, and I just put it in the studio. And my cat is really afraid of it, so I took the photo and video of it.
And now the big question, of course, this is a music question. So the cat that you mentioned, is that the cat that is mentioned in Rin Tim Taggy Dim?
No, this is the second one. This is the new one. So yeah, the newer one. He came not so long ago. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned one of the things you like to do when you're at home is cooking. Are you a good cook?
Well, I was better cook before because I find that cooking is one of those things which it's not like riding a bicycle. You lose your touch after some time,
Mhm.
and I was about getting to be a good cook. And now I'm just the worst, and I got lazy with it. And now it's just back at the air fryer stuff. But my wife is like amazing cook. Like we usually don't go to restaurants because it's just food that she makes is better at home, and she's also like in love with the cooking, and she's always trying out new recipes, and she's like making Afghani food, then Indian food, and she's making a thing out of it. Today we're traveling to India. She explains the yeah, it's funny. So I'm a good helper, I'm a good sous chef and good cleaner, so yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I think we probably come into the same category. I always say that I can make food that we can survive on, but Tracy can make the food that we can, well, we can die for, really. So yeah, yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, but I used to cook like Chinese food, and not Chinese, like Asian food. So I'm not really expert of it, but like some peanut butter with chicken and whatever. It's complex, more complex than it sounds. I can't explain it now in English, but yeah, you get the gist of it.
So, saying about your English is really, really good. Is it, and I apologize for the ignorance here, is English taught kind of as a second language sort of in Croatia?
Yeah, it is. And where I come from, it's also the same case with Italian, but I'm really horrible in Italian. It's just because I didn't learn English in school. I learned it just by watching movies, listening to music and TV shows. And also I had a privilege to expand it a little bit because I studied in Ljubljana, and the whole like college was in English because we accepted students, although they expected students from India, from Russia, from whatever, and we talked all in English the whole time. So I had the privilege to learn in that also way.
Okay, okay. Also, you mentioned there about TV. What's the last series that you kind of like just went crazy for? What's the last big show?
I'm the big proponent of The Office, which I had like no joke, I had to go like a real junkie on the therapy of not looking at it anymore because I watched it for like, I don't know, 17, 18 times. It wasn't even fun like when I watched it for the ninth time, but it was just something that I felt safe with, and the voices and the characters and the now predictable plot. I know what everything's gonna happen. So in the moments of, for example, Eurovision, when I was really stressed out, I was just gonna go home and turn on The Office. So I had to take the time off. So then I watched Full Horses for a few times, which was also one of the amazing show. I probably would have watched it same as The Office, but it's not on the streaming platform services, so I had to find it illegally on internet. And just yesterday, I finished the third season of White Lotus. The first two seasons were cool for me. The third one, it's starting to get really, really heavy. It induces my anxiety, and I'm starting to think about death afterwards. And it's just like, okay, I'm not gonna watch this. And Malcolm in the Middle is something that I'm watching like casually now.
Oh, Malcolm in the Middle is I haven't seen that for years, but that's a great show.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so like the whole thing obviously happens in America, but it's such a Balkan culture. Like it says the Croatia in it, I think. So it's special for us here in the Balkans. Everybody I know likes Malcolm in the Middle because it reminds them of their own childhood almost.
Yes, I always remember one very funny line from that as one of the lads wants to spend Christmas with his friends, and his mum says, Christmas isn't about spending time with people you like, it's about being with your family. And I always thought that was just a wonderful line, wonderful line. Right, and yeah, this is a just an interesting question, I guess. Do you like to gamble?
No, actually, I'm kind of afraid of gambling because I have a really addictive personality. And once I went with my friend, we went on a group date, a double date, and I don't know why he picked let's go to casino. And I won. I turned €5, it's like $5 or whatever, €5 into 300 euros within just like 2 hours. And I got so afraid, oh my God, I'm going to become a gambler. And the next day I gave all the money away.
That it's actually you are right because they do say that the people who generally get into trouble with gambling are the people who win the first time because they think, oh, this is easy.
Yeah. And I remember saying that to my father, and he got really upset. Like, that's not good news that you won. And he's also like, he was afraid for us that that I'm gonna like think, okay, this was easy. Now this I'm gonna do this for a living.
Yeah, yes, yes. Oh, just returning to TV for a moment. Have you ever seen a series called Faulty Towers?
Mm, is that something like British? And is that a British with similar to Fools and Horses?
Yeah, it has a guy called John Cleese who used to be in Monty Python. He's very tall, and I don't know if
Yeah.
you.
I know the show. I didn't watch it, but everybody says, "Oh, if you liked Fools and Horses, you should watch Fawlty Towers."
Yeah,
So,
I only say that because he's my uncle.
oh, really?
Yeah, because you probably saw on my thing. People never believe it, but my name is really is Cheese, obviously, and I guess I think the story was his name is John Cleese now, but apparently it was like a name change. He was actually John Cheese. So yeah, it's just one of those little notes kind of things.
Oh, I'm gonna look him up after this. Just
Uh, so do you collect anything?
Yeah, actually, I love to collect books that I read, and I just again started to collect comic books, with not like DC or Avengers, but more of I don't know. You probably didn't even heard of it because I think it's mostly popular in Italy and Croatia and Yugoslavia, ex-Yugoslavia. Like Alan Ford, Zagor, Black, and stuff like that. And I recently only bought, I think it's DC, Preacher comic books
Yep.
from yeah, and I read it a long time ago, but I bought it again just to have it like a collectible. So yeah, I like to collect like stuff from Dostoevsky or just all the books. I like to have that.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned about how many times you'd seen a number of shows. Are you the same with movies? Are there any movies that you've just watched way too many times?
Yeah, and maybe not way too many times, but I rewatched Lord of the Rings trilogy for the longest of time. I rewatched Seven and Usual Suspects. I know that the movie that I mostly rewatched was Tenacious D: The Pick of Destiny, which is a movie with Jack Black. And I remember being a kid, and it was such a fun movie. And I rewatched it for 100 times, and I know every song, and I know everything. Me and my brother just fell in love because we were young kids, and we rented the movie, and it was Hollywood movie, and it had metal and rock singers in it, and it was like we don't like musical, and it wasn't a musical, but it had a lot of songs, but all the songs were actually like rock and metal and funny and good and goofy. So I think actually Tenacious D, the band, had somewhat of an impact on my music. So yeah, it's the movie that I watched most of the time.
Yeah. Mentioning kind of Tenacious D and the way your face lit up when you were talking about them, is there anybody that you have either met or you think if you did meet them that you would find it really hard to kind of keep yourself together?
I thought you were gonna ask me that I was gonna be disappointed. No, actually, I think it's the other way around. I couldn't imagine myself being like mostly disappointed with people rather than keeping myself of someone, because no, really, maybe just like someone who's dead, like I don't know, Gandhi or Jesus or I don't know, probably that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like a famous living person, I don't think so, to be honest, just because I don't know. I don't want to sound braggy or anything, but a lot of people like were like amazed to meet me, in a sense they were like shaking or whatever, and I'm like, bro, I'm just a dude. I'm just a guy from small town. I don't know, I'm not what you think I am. And thus I would also presume that someone else is just a dude, whatever, is just a person. So yeah, and I don't make really such idols out of human beings. So yeah, I just but I would love to meet some people, of course. Maybe I don't know. It for me, it would be cool just to meet guitar player of System of a Down, because he had like he influenced me so much in my playing, in my whatever. So been throughout my whole childhood. Like Darren Malakian was just a cool dude. So I would like to meet him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm exactly the same as you. And it's funny enough, the one person that I have always wanted to meet, funny enough, is Yngwie Malmsteen.
Who is that? Oh, who is that?
Oh, Yngwie Malmsteen. He's a Swedish guitarist. He's just
Yeah, I know. Sorry, it sounded familiar when you just say guitarist. I already know. Okay.
yeah, yeah. He's it's the same thing. But like you said, you know, and you're absolutely right. I mean, the whole fame thing is just funny because obviously doing what you know what I do, I've kind of got to speak to a lot of my heroes, and to be honest, every single one except one who was an utter dick. Um, every other person has just been, especially the format of this show, they just talk, and that's like you said, they all go to the toilet. They all do,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's cool when people like lay their hopes out in you and they tell you that you help them, which is like the best thing that could ever happen. But yeah, as you said, we're just a normal person, and it's just everyone. I'm not special in any kind of way or better than a concert attendee. It's just whatever. You know what I'm
Yeah,
trying.
no, I know what you're saying, but the only thing I will say, and this will sound incredibly arrogant because it sounds like I'm speaking on behalf of millions of people, but the one thing I think you have to take on board is the massive amount of positivity that your art has brought to the world. And I'm not saying that from a fan's point of view. I'm saying it from a point of view that the first time we watched the semi-finals last year of the Eurovision Song Contest, and we heard you, we watched the end of the show and we kind of rewound and watched you about 10 times in a row, and then your video ended up in our man cave in the car, and I mean, of the hundreds of millions of views, I'm personally responsible for at least 100 million of them. But my serious point is, at the end of the day, although, as you say, you're just a person, but the talent and the art form that you have created has made a genuine change for the better to huge numbers of people. So I think that's something that that has to be kind of said, because what you do is incredible for the positivity that you bring to the world.
I mean, thank you for saying it. And my psychiatrist would tell you that is exactly the thing that I'm struggling with, which I'm struggling with giving myself like a tap on the shoulder, like, wait, a good boy, you did something, because I tend to just ignore everything that I do positively and focus just on negativity, which is, I think a lot of people do that. So it's nothing special, but at any moment I didn't like pat myself on the back and said, "Hey, you did something nice. You did something good." I always tend to, yeah, just glance over those kind of things. So thank you for reminding me, and feeling kind of awkward now, but
No, it's fine. But again, and I will move away so that we do, sort of kill off your awkwardness. But my point is, it doesn't have to be something that is massively measurable, that that you go on to win a million Grammys or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I'm very lucky. I'm always happy. Genuinely, I'm always happy. But I know, for somebody who is just feeling a bit down, the very fact that they can hit play and get that kind of endorphin rush and that adrenaline rush and that positivity from something you've done, again, I think it just has to be recognized. And I will move on so you're not embarrassed. But please do carry that in your heart, because you have done something very special, for the world.
thank you so much. It really means a lot. You reminded me of something nice, so thank you.
You're welcome. So couple more questions. Who is your hero?
Who is my hero? Well, probably without lying or trying to be cheesy or whatever, but my parents are my heroes because I don't know. I think without them, all of this like wouldn't be possible. Not just in a like natural way that they gave me a birth, but gave me my life. But they supported me when I had friends whose parents didn't support them, and they believed in me. They had so much patience with me because I was the kid that I was. I can name you. I was playing football, handball, tennis, table tennis, badminton, karate, budokai, kickboxing, volleyball. I was playing chess. I was playing guitar. I was doing like all sorts of kind of things. I probably didn't just name them all. And they were like patient with me. They gave me chances to try myself into everything. They were so patient with me and so supportive that I had a chance to like sit at home and focus on my songwriting, while other people, I don't know, had my friends had sometimes tougher times because they weren't given any opportunities that I was given. So also they come from very poor backgrounds, and they're not rich now, but they're way better off than they were when they just started life. So it's just in every kind of way I look at them as the best living persons. So yeah, I'm trying to be as they were to me. I'm trying to be to people around me.
Nice, nice. And again, it's the, I'm sorry, I have to keep putting praise on you, and I apologize in a way. But again, it's a mark of you to be able to just say that because, like we were talking about earlier on with our wives, these aren't things that you shouldn't be able to say. I mean, I think it's just I don't know. I kind of think when you consider in the big scheme of things that by whatever luck we've all landed on this planet that's spinning, a billion miles an hour through the universe, why would you get hung up on not being able to say I love my parents or I love my wife? It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think I was one of those dudes. I was afraid of how my friends are gonna look at me if I talk about my girl too much or if I say that I love her. And now that I don't actually care, it's so freeing and
Yeah.
actually feel proud of your relationship being so healthy that you can proudly and loudly say, hey, we're on tour and I'm enjoying myself, but to be honest, I can't wait to get home to my wife. So,
Yeah, and I get that. I was out in LA a few years ago for work, and especially with the time difference, it was kind of like by the time she was getting up, I was kind of going to bed, and I was doing everything I could to kind of stay up just to be able to talk to her every night. But like you said, and it's really funny. I had one afternoon off, and I took a walk to Santa Monica Pier, and I sat at the end of Santa Monica Pier. I mean, beautiful weather, it's beautiful location, loneliest few hours of my life, you know.
yeah, just 2 days ago, I was listening to or reading the oh my God, the most famous psychologist, psychiatrist in the history, the guy from Switzerland. No,
Freud.
which Freud. Yeah, I just read his letters to his wife, and he was some way 2 weeks away from her, and he wrote the letters to her like I'm the most miserable guy ever. My face is so frowned. I miss you so much. There is no, but he was so dramatic about it. He even used those kind of profound English to describe how he's feeling, and it was so dramatic. And I was like, yeah, my dude.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, my my biggest fear from that point of view is I don't know what it's actually. I'll ask the question first. It wasn't one I had here, but do you believe in the afterlife?
Yeah, I do. I talked openly about my faith, so yeah, I do.
And that was funny enough my thing because it's not that I don't believe it, but
Mm.
I don't know. And my big thing is, as I said to Tracy, it took 28 years to find her, and obviously now I've been with her, kind of day and night for 30 years, and I can't do 5 minutes without her really comfortably. So to me, it's that thought of, you know, if there is, it's that real. It's probably my only fear in life, ironically, is that what if I die and then can't find her next time around? She keeps telling me that I don't have to worry that she's gonna find me, which sounds a bit of a threat, but yeah. So, what are your kind of thoughts on the afterlife and spiritualism, etc. Then?
Well, I talked about it a few times openly, although every time it's scary just because of the judgment that can be passed on. But I'm fine with it in a sense that if that's what it takes. But I was raised Christian, and then somewhere around my teens, I drift totally from it, and I was. I should say agnostic, but I tend to sometimes have like totally atheistic beliefs. And then 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I had like big burnout, and it was just things were really, really horrible for me, and I fought anxiety, and it came to a point where I was going to see my wife, or then girlfriend, and I would just turn around the car in the middle of just driving and just go home and to cry. Then I wouldn't say that I flirted with suicide, but I just started to think about what would happen if I did it, and that was the moment when I called up my dad and told him, "Hey, I need help because this is not gonna go good." And in that moment, he helped me, and I remember that day being the most like I don't know. It was really. It came to a point where something needed to be done, and he, as a Christian, the best thing that he could do in his mind was to take me to his friend, our family friend, which is a priest. And since I talked to him, it was the thing that helped me. And I didn't. So when I said it helped me, I don't mean like therefore there I'm cured. I remember that after that talk was just like one of the worst nights ever, but I know what he speaks is the truth, and I felt the peace that I haven't felt for years. And ever since that, I came back to my faith, although I'm still struggling with it in a sense that I can't just accept everything that was said and in church, and the church teachings I'm still struggling with. But I don't think that people usually think that, you're a Christian, so you accept everything and just it's easy. Well, it's not easy. It's a constant fight. It's a constant overthinking. And there's thing that people in Christianity say, even in Bible, you have a gift of faith, which means that you are not struggling with your faith. So some people have a gift of faith, but they're not questioning everything, which doesn't mean that they're stupid. But as you said, you're happy most of the time, so it's the same for them. They don't doubt what the truth is, and I'm not one of those person. I'm constantly, maybe like every day, I'm questioning, is this real or whatever. But at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, as you can say, that I'm in peace with it, and I know that's the truth. So I believe in that kind of afterlife, which again doesn't have to be like the Garden of Eden or whatever. Mostly, I don't even think about it because it's not even important in the sense that what afterlife is. The only thing it's important that there is one. So that's sort of like my spiritual story.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think the other thing, though, is well, two things. Clearly, you're extremely intelligent, which probably this sounds terrible. Probably, like if people have seen you maybe on Eurovision or something like that, you obviously come across as very bouncy and very kind of as a persona, I guess. But clearly, you're very intelligent, and I think sometimes it's kind of like intelligence can be a double-edged sword because I sometimes think to myself, I wish I had been one of these people that could have just drifted through life, had a little job, made just enough to survive on, but it's clearly with you, you're clearly driven, and I think driven, being goal orientated, being intelligent, like I said, can also make it very challenging because you do find yourself questioning a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm questioning everything all of the freaking time. It sometimes it's even like tiring, and it can be harmful. Actually, I found that to be the case. Uh, but yeah, but I don't want to like make it even a case of feeling sorry for myself. I think I'm gonna try and do the best with it that I can, and yeah, but yeah, sometimes it can be like messy in my own head. So, but I believe that again, I'm not the only one in the world with this. So I think a lot of people are struggling with it. I can see it also in my wife and my friends. So yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, life. I mean, you're older than me, and you're wiser, and you had more life experience for sure. So I don't want to like get too philosophical with you, just because I don't think I did my time yet to say anything smart. So I'll just go through life, and maybe sometimes in the future I can have something smarter to say.
And no, not at all. I think honestly, my biggest takeaway that my kind of sort of nearly 60 years, really my biggest thing is not to take everything too seriously. That's the number one thing. And the other thing I've really learned is if something doesn't get done today, it'll still be there tomorrow.
Oh my God, that sounds like such a simple thing, but it's hardcore philosophy too.
Well, I tell you, right, I had cancer and I got very, very sick. Best thing that could have ever happened to me. It was the best thing ever because now I'm like, fuck it, don't care. Do you know what I mean? I didn't die of cancer, so I've beaten that. And really, honestly, it's like if I don't get something done at whatever time I finish tomorrow, I'll put the laptop on and finish it tomorrow. And at the end of the day, again, from my point of view, and maybe this isn't old man giving a younger man some advice. At the end of the day, whatever you are doing, nothing that you are doing today is as important as dropping what you're doing, going and giving your wife a hug and telling you love her.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I totally agree with you, and I'm starting to practice that. I mean, this morning, just literally this morning, I got up before her, and I was in the studio. I'm writing new album, and I was really into like writing lyrics, and I was just about to finish it, and I heard her going downstairs, and usually we have breakfast together, and I was like, well, this doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go downstairs and have a breakfast with her and just keep her company, just so we can talk. Although I'm really, really intense about the album, so yeah, I know what you're saying, and I'm trying to practice exactly that. So I don't want to wake up one day and see myself leading the my life on career or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. You have to balance it, and I do always think to myself now, in particular, I think, what if that 5 minutes that I spent doing something that I didn't necessarily need to be doing, that 5 minutes that I could have been spent with her could have been the last 5 minutes that I spend with her, and I would kick myself if I had not spent. Obviously we both have to pay our bills and we have to do so. You have to have a balance, but at the end of the day, I just think if you've got found somebody that you love, then nothing should be as important as them.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you.
So our very final question, and this, I really should change this question. It's the same question we ask everybody who's been on the show. It's incredibly depressing. How would you like to be remembered when you are no more? When you have rimmed him, taggied your last dim?
I don't know. I thought about it in a sense, in some kind of like similar context, and people have asked me that ever since I like after Eurovision. So when I became popular or whatever. But I don't. First of all, I gotta say that I don't really care that much, like being remembered in general public. Because I don't know why. I think I could write a book or essay about it. Why? But mostly because I think when you're in the public eye, people tend to create their own image of what you are. Thus, the saying, don't meet your heroes because they're probably not what you think they are. So, what I'm worried about, or what matters to me, is just to my parents, my brother, my friends, and my wife, and hopefully my children remember me as a good person who always had time and love for them. That's it. And I don't want to say anything much because I'll start to cry.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, I would say go and give your wife a hug from me, but that would sound very weird. But you know what I mean. I am. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. It would be remiss of me not to ask what's the best place people can kind of find you online and check out the music, etc.
Yeah, well, I think the usual suspects like YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram would be much obliged if you would visit and take a listen to our songs. And just to say, to be honest with you, this was one of the greatest interviews ever. I totally forgot that I just talked to you. I didn't even think about, like, this is going to come out or whatever. So good job, because I think I can say that because I've talked to like hundreds of interviewers in the last year and a half, and this is one of the tops. So tops to you, hats off, and thank you for amazing chat.
Well, thank you again, and the door is 100% open. I would genuinely love to, have you back on the show. Obviously, you say you're working on a new album and stuff. When it comes time to kind of do promotion, I'd love to have another chat with you. We can talk music as well, and I'm sure there's a million and one other things we could talk about. So if you'd like to come back, would love to have you here again.
For sure, we can talk when the album maybe comes out or whatever, or something happens, and just chat again. So thank you so much again, sir, and have such a nice day. And your listeners, of course.
So I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have, please do consider subscribing and also leaving us a review, as it does help greatly with the rankings. Also, if you have suggestions for future guests, please reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, X, etc. We would love to hear your ideas, and we would love to hear from you. Thanks very much.